Okay, so from your perspective, what instructional practices do you think that you use that move students towards mastery? Because 63% is a large chunk. So what did you implement in that lesson? I kind of want to see if it aligns with what I saw.
So what I would do, that's when centers come into play.
Okay.
Where I would split groups of kids based off their reading level and how strong they are.
Okay.
Into small groups that would pertain to things that we're learning, such as vocab, text features, text
Okay.
structures. Office purpose, they're all broken down.
Okay.
And that's what I would use for extra support, along
To
with the
move.
handouts that we have right now.
Okay.
So that would be like my extra formula of support, small group support.
Okay. So that pretty much covers it, like just as far as what you plan to do in the future.
Yes.
And even those kids who didn't master it, the other stack that you showed me, do you have centers set up for them too, like on their level of what they need for remediation? Or is that what you were talking about just now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you were talking about the remediation kids. That's what you would do to get them to master it.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what I collected when I observed. You told me you want me to look at student engagement. So what I used was a tool that kept track of students that were engaged throughout the lesson and students that were not engaged and what their behaviors were. So as you can see, there were 3 students in particular that I noticed were frequently off task. I just wrote the names that you had on their desk right here. So this might be something you see normally with these students. But a few things that I think could work with getting them engaged. I see that you present with your anchor chart. On that particular day, you had little PowerPoint to go with it too.
Yes.
So just continuously incorporating those visuals, even like, I don't know if those students are kinesthetic learners, but giving them some type of way to respond to you or to stay engaged with something tangible. So maybe they have a whiteboard that they can write answers on. And it might not be for everybody in the class, but those 3 just were very fidgety and kind of like looking all over the place while you were teaching and things like that. Is that something that you noticed often with those 3 students?
Yes.
In particular?
Yes.
And it's been kind of a challenge to...
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm thinking just maybe something to get them engaged. If you, I'm not sure if you have behavior problems out of those 3, or if it's just kind of like academic focus is a concern. But even considering a behavior contract for those kids and just telling them like, what are your look-fors throughout instruction. So I expect you to be, hands out of your desk, eyes on the teacher. I at least want you to raise your hand 1 time. So just giving them little bullet points on the behavior contract of what you expect from them. That could be something that might work for those students, just as far as engagement, because they'll know your expectation, and it's tailored specifically to them. So that's pretty much the main thing I wanted to give you feedback on. For the majority of the class, they really were in tune with what you were teaching. So kudos to you in that area. Next time we meet, I can look at another domain if you want me to. So we did student engagement this time. Next time, we can look at any other area that you might feel like you want feedback on. Okay, so let's talk about our next steps. So for our next steps for instruction and assessment, we said we're all going to start looking at centers for next week. And as we plan those, we will look for specific lessons on, what's your standard, R2.1 on text features. Questions that will align with like what the FAST test will present them with.
Yes.
And that's going to be very important, that whole alignment piece, because we don't want to give students questions that are too easy, questions that are not what they will see later on. So those will be our next steps. For assessment, what unit are you all on next? I see your next test will be, let's see, not this one because you just took this one. So unit 5. Week 3, okay. Will text features come up again on that test? I believe they should. Okay, so we need to make sure that our students are mastering that. And when did they take their Unit 5 Week 2 test?
They took that. They actually took that today.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we need to look at that data too then.
Yes.
And that will tell us which questions are on text features and which ones they mastered also. Okay, so let's go back to this. So our timeline for implementation, let's meet again we'll plan out our centers in Unit 5, Week 3 when we return from break. So January 4th, we'll plan out that week. So let's say mid-January, let's say by January 15th, we'll revisit
Yes.
this and pull the students' data on text features specifically. I know your unit tests are kind of, it has a lot of standards on it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but we'll look at specifically text features. So what questions or support do you feel like you still need from me in order to make sure students are mastering this standard or any other standards that you are concerned about? How can I help you in that area?
I would say that will also help students with setting them up for success.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that what's sticking out to me is a little bit on the left side, their behavior.
Okay.
Having the behavior contract,
Okay.
which would allow them to hold their own selves accountable.
Okay.
With what decisions or actions that they're in or they're choosing
Yes.
to show
Okay, is that behavior during instruction, behavior during testing?
during instruction.
During instruction, okay, got it. So maybe putting together some of those behavior contracts, or if you found that that doesn't work in your class, maybe something else?
Yes.
Okay, I have a good website that we can use. It is called Positive, but I'll pull it up for you. It's about positive behavior, pbisworld.com, I think that's what it is. And we'll look at that and find some different strategies, some different charts you can hang up, some different incentives, things like that that will really motivate kids. I do see you have a data chart over there for their unit weekly tests. Okay, so is that working? Are kids motivated or not really?
So actually, this is our fourth time implementing this.
Okay.
Some kids I have seen progress in.
Okay.
Some still, just on the radar. I'm still working with them.
Okay.
So, but I believe like a good chunk has been progressive.
Okay.
So,
And that's something you keep regularly, right?
Yes.
I saw kids using some type of like manila folder.
Yes.
It wasn't the day I came in to observe, but I just want to know what is that?
So it is a data chart that tracks their progress from each test.
Okay.
For instance, let's say like how we just took our Unit 5 Week 2 test.
Okay.
What they would do, they would go ahead and fill in. They would go ahead and not fill in. They would go ahead and they would put their scoring. And just to track their progress from how they went from this point in time to the last test they took, for instance, their Unit 5 Week 1 test. So it's just to track their progress on how they've been doing on the test that's up to standards.
Okay.
For the test in the future that we're going to take.
Well, that's good because that's two ways for them to kind of be in tune with what they're scoring. Do you all do any type of test corrections, or is that something that's kind of been hard to squeeze in, or where do y'all stand with that in third grade?
Sometimes it can be a little bit of a task to squeeze in.
Okay.
But when we do commence that, I like to believe that some kids they see where certain mistakes that they made, or let's say like if a certain question is formatted a different way, and also going into that to help from all the errors. What I would always help tell them to do is always to read the question very thoroughly.
Yes.
And based off certain things we learned as far as the text feature text structures or office plan, compare and contrast. I would share with them, I would tell them to go ahead and underline whatever stands out.
That's good, because I think that's a large part of the reason why kids are not answering questions right. They don't know what the question is asking them because they're taking the test so quickly. I'd be interested to see that Unit 5 Week 2 test after you grade it.
Yes.
Because that'll give us another data point to look at, because 63% mastering the exit ticket is good, but then what happens when all those other standards are, mixed in with text features? Like it was like you taught text structures, author's purpose, author's claim and evidence also that week after your initial lesson. So that'll be another good data point. And then when you look at multiple data points, you triangulate that data, then you can kind of see, all right, these are trends from student 1, these are trends from student 2, these are trends from student 3, so you're not just looking at one score. And that's useful data when you start having your parent conferences, especially in third grade. So, okay, I enjoyed doing this with you, Mr. Willard. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we will pursue these next steps, and mid-January we'll meet again, and I will provide that support you need with the PBIS World interventions before that, so we can see if it actually works. as we start going into these next steps. Sounds good?
Yes.
All right, well, we'll meet together next, after Christmas break for common planning. And go from there, okay?
Yes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.